Hello, and as all you know, I am Declan Gazil in our 6th period innovations class. And my project, which you've heard a million times before, is studying nutrients and more simplified macronutrients. And so this is my end of year presentation where I will inform you guys about what I've studied and what I've learned. And my first video, which is called Healthy, Ironically Scary, is basically a rundown of macronutrients and how and what they do for you. And if you have too much, then it can get bad, or too little, then it can also get bad. And so how to balance out your life within the things you need and what they do for you. So let's get started. That's good, right? So start off with nutrition nowadays in the US is completely blown in the water, and not just in the US, it's everywhere around the world. Okay, people used to go from I'm hungry, I need to eat, to hey, I'm bored, I'm gonna shove food in my mouth. And that's what's caused the 35% of American adults to go obese. That's a huge number. Look at this. 86,720,798.2 American adults are obese. And most of them are not even doing anything to change it. They're gradually gaining more weight. And it's just sad. And basically, if you were to follow, how much you should eat and your calorie restrictions, then it wouldn't be like that. Maybe the number would go down to 1%, but it's horrible nowadays. Now in food, there's one thing that you'll always find, and that's called macros, or in other words, macronutrients. Okay, now macronutrients breaks off into 3 separate things, and that's carbs, fat, and protein, which I'm sure you guys have heard a lot through me. But basically, they're found in certain types of food. Usually there's a little bit of all of them, if not one source in a majority in that food. And they do different things to your body, and they have different functions in which what will happen. And if you manipulate these things and know what they can do, then multiplying that by exercise and dividing by diet, you can get the desired body of your life, okay? It just takes hard will, dedication, and this math equation. Let's go.
Carbohydrates suck. They're everywhere, and I've had too many myself.
Hey,
to be honest.
Get out of here! What are you doing? This is my project, dude. Okay, well that may be true. There's so much more to it. Carbohydrates, or carbs, are a form of glucose, really, and in other words, sugar, which I'm sure you guys have heard a lot from. I mean, I know he knows a lot about it, and they're found in your favorite places like dessert, rice, noodles, and something very important is fruit. Because in fruit, there's this thing called fiber, which is something you can't really digest, so it just slips right on through your intestines, and it really helps clear things out, I'll tell you that much. Okay, now your daily recommended amount of carbs should be 45 to 60% of your calories. So say you have 2,000, and you divide by 45% to 60, and that number should be your carbs. And something that they are really important is they're the preferred energy for your body. They keep your brain, your heart, your cells, your toenails, and your fingers, and everything going. So without these, then you'd kind of be just a jumbled, lazy mess. There is something that can happen if you don't have enough carbs, which is called ketosis, when it breaks down fat in a way that you also get energy from it, but that's something we'll talk about in a little bit, okay? Now let's see what happens when you eat too much of them. Alright, now of course there is problems with eating too many carbs, and a very important one, and one that's super common, especially among adults and elderly, is type 2 diabetes, and that's occurs when your pancreas fails. And what your pancreas does, it produces insulin, which is a growth hormone, which circulates the glucose and sugar through your blood to give you energy and such. And so when it fails, then of course things are going to go wrong. And since you can't get any energy anywhere, and your body can't take in those the glucose and the sugar that it needs, it starts going drastically all over your body looking for some energy to take in, and so you start losing weight very fast. You can even go into a coma, which is called a diabetic coma, and it can be very deadly. So a repercussion of this is you have to take shots of insulin by yourself after every single time you eat, and it's very painful, it's very expensive, and it's a very serious medical problem. Other thing is, of course, probably the worst, excess weight gaining, which is something everyone's afraid of. So that's something bad. So don't eat too much. And then high cholesterol. And cholesterol is a growth hormone produced by
your liver for metabolic reasons. And what happens is when you get high cholesterol, then blood clots can build up in major arteries and stuff like that, and so blood flow can't go through. So if it's going to your brain, then you can easily have a stroke. If it's going to your heart, and then blood can't pump to the heart, so it doesn't get any oxygen or fuel or anything like that, then you can easily have a heart attack. It's very dangerous, and there's crazy repercussions. So if you just follow, the recommended diet, then stuff like this won't happen, and you'll live a happy, healthy life. All right, now, and as you can see, there is problems with too little carbs because, it's macronutrients aren't things you need a perfect balance for, but it's something that needs to be and have an equilibrium. Okay, so now one important problem that can happen is, and don't get confused by my wonderful handwriting, is hypoglycemia. And that's the effect of having low blood sugar, so that means, your arteries aren't getting what they need, and your organs, and so you're tired and droopy and you're not as energetic. And this also comes around to type 2 diabetes, when your pancreas fails because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And so this all comes around full circle. It's bad both ways. Horrible things can happen, and it's just up to you to decide whether they do or not. It's simple as that. And also a thing called ketosis, because as I explained before, carbohydrates is the main function and the main preferred source for your brain and your heart and all your organs for energy. And so when they have nothing to run off of, they just went to fat. They go to fat, and they take away things called ketones, which provide energy. And there is some problems with this. Some people prefer it. Some people may say it makes it feel better. But this isn't your body's preferred source, so repercussions can happen, like kidney stones, which are a very bad thing, extreme ketosis, which bad breath, hair loss, poor skin, stuff like that. But it does work better for some people, and it has been shown for some medical conditions to decrease what's happening, like in Alzheimer's or people who have seizures. So it's still kind of up in the air, and that's the thing with nutrition, that new evidence can change it, and that's the thing with science in general. Things are always changing. So, on to fat. And now on to fat. And fat consists of roughly 15 to 20% of your calories, no more, or less actually. Now there's 4 types of fat within the grand idea of fat. It's poly, mono, trans, and saturated. Now poly, you'll have your fish and nuts, that's where you'll find it. Mono and olive oil and canola. Trans and fried and baked food. Saturated in meat, dairy, and eggs. And as you can tell, trans and saturated sound more unhealthy, and they do have higher risk of heart disease. Lead to higher risk of heart disease, and worse stuff like that. And overeating poly and monosaturated fats aren't as bad as overeating trans and saturated fat. Actually, polysaturated fats have these things called omegas, for example, omega-3s and 6s, and they have different functions, like helping your brain and nerve function, and as well as even lowering heart disease. Okay, now, fat can do a lot. It gets such a bad rap for, especially these two, when these two are so good. It's just the idea of fat and linking it with body fat and stuff like that. The word gets mixed and has mixed emotions. All right, and now on to too much fat. So one problem is atherosclerosis. That's such a hard word to say. Anyways, it's when your artery walls thicken, and your arteries, you know what that is, I hope. They restrict blood flow when that happens. And so that can lead to a possible stroke or a heart attack, because like I said before, if blood can't flow to your heart or to your brain, it shuts off, because it needs the oxygen, it needs the fuel. And I'm repeating myself now. Okay. And also there's a higher chance of heart disease, and that's still kind of speculated right now in the nutrition industry, like exactly why, but people are linking it to saturated and trans fat. But still, like I said, it's kind of up in the air. But it is linked to that. That's all we know right now. And then also, of course, weight gain, which is something you'll find what happens when you eat too much of anything. All right. Then a possibility of weight gain is getting obese, and that can lead to hurting your hypothalamus, and that's the in and out part of your brain that balances energy. So that means it can't tell when you're hungry or you're not hungry, stuff like that. So you always just want to eat and eat, and so far it just increased your obesity, and that's obviously a bad thing. You want to lose weight if you're overweight, but your brain kind of screws up, and that's because you're eating too much fat. All right, and now on to too little fat. So first of all, fat causes a healthy heart. So if you're not getting enough fat, then that can lead to a poor heart, which can also, in end, lead to things like heart disease or a heart attack. And so, if you want to keep your heart healthy, then, get the right amount of macros and especially fat. Okay, and now, second of all, fat is used to break down vitamins. So if you don't get enough fat, then you'll have a vitamin deficiency. And vitamins, C, D, E, F, G, all of those, they're all used for specific things. Some for skin, some for your hair. You can also have night blindness or a weak immune system. So in the end, you're just going to get the cold and the flu and stuff like that. You'll be more susceptible. And also, then you can get mood swings, which is something all of us teenagers have. So maybe you guys need more fat. Because bad nutrition can lead to an unbalanced brain because it needs the right amount of stuff to keep it going, keep it fueling, and so your brain will be all jumbled, and then you'll have different emotions, which is bad. I mean, it's great. And now on to my favorite protein, aka gains. Okay, now protein should make up 10 to 35% of your daily calories, and that's because if you're in the gym and you want to build muscle or something like that, or you're an extreme exerciser, then you'll need more protein for this exact reason, because of what protein is used for. It's used to build muscle and as well preserving it. So while you're exercising, you have to eat protein so it doesn't break down, instead builds up. Because if you're not, then it'll do the opposite, and your body doesn't know the function, it doesn't have the right materials to keep it building and keep it growing. That's why all these extreme bodybuilders drink whey protein and stuff like that, because they need extra protein to keep on fueling their muscles. In each inside protein are these smaller proteins called amino acids, and they have specific roles, whether it's help to prevent breakdown of muscle or keep something in your body running. There's 20 of them, and the strange thing is only 11 are produced inside your body, so the other 9 you have to get through foods, ones that are protein based. Great ones are like dairy, eggs, and milk, and so then you have every amino acid, all 20 of them, which you need all of them, trust me, because if you're deficient in one, then something bad can happen with your body. So, on to too much. Let's go. And now too little protein, which is the complete opposite of gains, quite frankly. And there's 2 types of vitamin deficiency, and they're both pretty much tongue twisters. The first one is kwashiorkor, and that's something what happens when you have too little protein, but you get a sufficient enough of calories, like your recommended amount. And this is something that you'll find very common in third world countries, with places that mainly live off wheat and stuff like that. So they'll get bread or maybe rice, but they won't get the right amount of protein, not enough from meat or dairy or eggs and stuff like that. And this is something you'll see like with the sad African children in the commercials where you have to give them a penny to save their lives when they have very big stomachs, but they're very skinny up top and very skinny everywhere else. That's a cause of kwashiorkor, and their stomach gets very inflated and stuff like that. Other things that come along with it is fatigue, diarrhea, and a weak immune system, which of course you just get more sicknesses and more illnesses, and things just are going to continue to get worse. It's all bad, really. And then the second one, which is marasmus, what happens when you have too little protein but not enough calories. You can get an infected immune system, you can get mood swings, stunted growth, and times like you can't remember, because as I said before, healthy nutrition leads to a healthy brain, so your brain isn't working as well, and so bad things can happen. And then finally, you have slow regenerative body tissue, and it also starts to break down on itself because it doesn't have stuff to rely on. So if, say, you have a scar or a bruise, and it won't, then normally it'd heal like, say, within a week, but with this, then it won't heal within a month, and they can continue to get worse, and they have a much higher chance to get infected, and it's really bad, and it's something that, it needs to be fixed. Too much protein, let's go. And now on to too much protein, but before we get there, there's something you need to know. As you grow older, or if you're going through pregnancy, then you need to eat more protein, because it doesn't metabolize as well through your body, and your body can't intake it, so you have to eat more to prevent muscle loss. Okay, now too much protein can lead to weight gain, as I said with every single other macronutrient, excess body fat, which is bad, pressure on kidneys. It has been linked with it, too much protein in your kidneys, but it hasn't been exactly stated why. That's still up in the air in the scientific field. Dehydration is also a thing that can happen, and it's very serious, and that also has to do with your kidneys, since your kidneys cycling a lot. And also taking bone minerals, and then high cholesterol, something we talked about before, which is very deadly and a super huge problem in the United States, and the amount of people with
either high cholesterol or high blood sugar is outstanding. And now that just about concludes everything I have to say today between carbs, macros, fat, protein, everything of the such, and all these scary things that can happen to you. But it's not that complex if you just stick to your basic diet and the counting that you need to do, which isn't that hard, and your division and stuff like that, and eating the right foods and not just junk food, and making sure your body weight is maintained, then you'll be perfectly fine. And also there's always the help of doctors and dietitians and people who say something is going wrong, and then there's you yourself who can just keep track. I mean, there's many people out there who do it, but then there's also the very large number of people who don't, and they'll definitely get affected by that, and they'll get what's coming to them, which is sad to say and all, but it's true. So I just want to say thank you all for watching so much. I've loved presenting this project, and I've loved doing this project. This innovations class has probably been my favorite class of the year. You know, just doing something out of the ordinary and something unique and being able to express myself, because in middle school, elementary school, and I don't know, maybe high school, you will never find a class, one like this and one where nutrition precise, especially where we're heading and stuff. And I love this class, being able to take my own way, especially you, Miss McLeod. This one goes out to you. And all you classmates, even though most of you walked in during my recording, it's fine, I forgive you all. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alright, now there's one thing in every single type of food you'll eat, and that's called macros. In other words, macronutrients. And macronutrients breaks off into 3 parts: carbs, fat, and protein. Each thing, it's different things. They use
Carbohydrates are the first macronutrients that we are going to talk about.
Hey! Oh God! Get out of here! This is my shot! Okay, well that may be true. There's a lot more to it, okay? This is stupid. I need to say something else.
Carbohydrates suck. They are everywhere, and I've had too many myself.
Hey,
Oh,
get
God.
out of here! What the heck? This is my shot! Now that may be true after all. I mean, just look at him. Okay, that's so mean.
I did not know that was...
Alright, now of course there is a problem with too little carbs, because it's something that needs not necessarily a perfect balance, but a balance in general. So one major thing that can happen, and don't get confused by my wonderful handwriting, is hypoglycemia, and that's the when your body runs extremely low on blood sugar, and so you're tired and stuff like that, and you're not really energetic. This also leads to insulin. So things come around full circle. It's both bad ways. What did I say? Insulin. It's type 2 diabetes, you stupid. And now on to too little fat. So first thing is heart problems. Fat leads to a healthy heart, as in the other things in macronutrients. And so, if you're not getting enough fat, then you aren't going to have a healthy heart. So heart attack and heart disease can definitely happen. It's a sad thing, really. And then also fat is used to break down vitamins. So if you you're not eating, then you can't break them down. You'd have a vitamin deficiency, which would lead to things like, poor